All right, everybody, new vocabulary. But before we start, let's make sure that we actually did this week's vocabulary quiz. So if you have not done the vocabulary quiz, stop this video, go and do that, then come back and let's talk about these words, all right? And remember, these words are going to be in next Tuesday's vocabulary quiz. So let's get started with Commonwealth. Now, what is a Commonwealth? Let's just give a general description. A Commonwealth is a country that has historical connections to a mother country. And because of those historical connections, they have trade agreements and defense agreements today. That's a way of putting it. So what does that look like? Well, Canada, actually, so let's start with Britain. Britain colonized the area that we now know as Canada. Yes, the French colonized it too, but Britain is eventually going to rule the area of Canada themselves. So one time in history, Britain colonized what we now know as Canada. Now, if we look today, Canada is its own country. A long time ago, in the mid-1800s, they broke off and became their own country officially, hence Canada Day. We'll talk more about Canada Day in the next video. Well, Canada, even though it rules themselves, they are a Commonwealth of Britain. The Queen of England is still ceremonially, in other words, she has no power, but she is ceremonially the head of Canada. I should put the quotes for head, not ceremonial. So she's ceremonially the head of Canada. She really has no power at all, but she's the head of Canada ceremonially. If Canada is ever attacked, because they're a Commonwealth with the United Kingdom technically as their head, if Canada is ever attacked, the United Kingdom will come to their defense. Also, Canada, especially with the UK breaking away from the European Union, you know that Canada and the United Kingdom are going to have trade agreements because of those historical connections that they had long ago. So that's a Commonwealth. You can think of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a Commonwealth of the United States. Puerto Rico rules itself, but yet they have an agreement that they're a Commonwealth of the U.S. Therefore, if they're ever attacked, the U.S. will provide protection for them. Canada is the same way with Britain, with the United Kingdom, I should say. Right? If that doesn't make any sense, talk to me, we'll work it out. All right? But that is a Commonwealth. That's a way of thinking about it. So again, a Commonwealth, what is a Commonwealth? You have a country with historical connections, so Canada, that has historical connections to a mother country. That mother country, in Canada's case, is the United Kingdom. Because of those historical connections, today there are trade agreements and defense agreements that are based on those historical connections that they had in the past. Right? So it's kind of like, hey, what happened in the past is why we're friends today. That's a good way of trying to succinctly put it. Again, talk to me if you have any questions. Executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial branch. So remember, the government of any country is broken up into three sections: executive, legislative, and judicial. If you remember from earlier on in the year, we talked about this. Executive branch, that is the branch of government that enforces the laws. Legislative branch is the branch of government that makes the laws. Judicial branch is the branch of government that interprets, another word for interprets would be judges the laws. So think about it. Courts are in the judicial branch. Parliament, or here in the U.S. we call our legislative branch Congress. The group that makes the laws, whether it's a parliament in Canada or it's Congress in the United States, that group that makes the laws, that is the legislative branch. The executive branch enforces the laws. So the laws that are already on the books are enforced by the executive branch. Here in the U.S., the president is the head of the executive branch. If you are in Canada, because Canada is a parliamentary democracy, the prime minister is head of the executive branch, but also, because the prime minister is elected as part of parliament, he's also head of the legislative branch. But normally the head of the country is going to run the executive branch, the group that enforces the laws. All right? Parliament. Parliament, since we're talking about Canada, how does this connect to Canada? Canada has a parliament. Parliament is just the name of certain countries' legislature. And that legislature obviously is, since the legislature is part of the legislative branch, the legislature is the group that makes the laws in that country. So in Canada's case, laws are made in Parliament. That is the name of the legislature that makes the laws. House of Commons. The legislature, the Parliament in Canada is split into two houses. The House of Commons, which is the more powerful house, that is where the Prime Minister is located, and the Senate. That should pretty much help you out. You don't need to know too much about the Senate, the House of Commons. House of Commons, again, is the one that has the most power. That's where the Prime Minister is located. But you just need to know that these are the two houses of Canada's Parliament. In the same way, a lot of legislatures are broken into two houses. If you look here in the U.S., Congress, which is the name of our legislature, is broken up into two houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate. All right, so again, Canadian Parliament is broken up into two houses, the House of Commons, the powerful house where the Prime Minister is located, and the Senate. Now, if you have any questions, let me know. Again, conference will be open until 3:25. All right, take care, guys.